daily and stay healthy. We all heard those sentences 1,000 times, right? But why do we hear this so often? Is there a reason? Is exercise and health really as important as we say it is?
Okay. Yeah, okay. Actually, if I'm going to be honest, I'm quite tired of hearing how to get a flat stomach, you need to exercise every day. But then again, there must be a reason why you keep repeating these sentences over and over again. And that's why we chose this theme, health. The Ministry of Health in Denmark actually made a recommendation about how much you need to exercise every day. And this goes for 5-year-olds to 17-year-olds. And it says that every single day you actually need to at least 60 minutes of low-intensity workouts, and 3 times a week, 30 minutes of high-intensity workouts. And we thought that it wasn't very hard, it doesn't sound very time-consuming. But the truth is that it's actually very few people, especially teenagers like us, that actually reach this goal every day. So that's why we wanted to investigate why is it so important to exercise and how can we reach this goal.
At least that was the main reason we chose to work for the health and exercise. One of the other reasons is that we both love sport and we love biology, and in short that means that we love to learn about what happens in the body when you exercise. So we thought this science fair would be a great opportunity to figure out more about what actually happens.
The first thing we wanted to investigate was how does exercise affect the pulse and the blood pressure. So we chose 6 different activities. Some were high intensity, like running or cardio, and some were low intensity. It could be just vacuuming the house or walking. We then borrowed a device that could measure both the pulse and the blood pressure, and also a running watch to keep track of our time and how much energy we burned.
So we took it there in the gymnasium to do our experiments. We left early in the morning when we packed our sport clothes, and we started doing our experiment immediately when we got there. We had chosen 6 activities, which were running, cardio, walking, vacuuming, sitting down, and resting. We started doing these activities in order to see how they would affect our pulse and our blood pressure. We did each activity 3 times for 10 minutes at a time, and after those 10 minutes, we measured our pulse and our blood pressure and wrote down the data in these tables. We started by the easiest exercises such as walking and ended up with the hardest such as cardio and running, so we wouldn't get tired and get unreliable results. In order to make our results more reliable, we also made sure to have some great breaks in between.
So when we were done with the experiment, we got home and we talked a bit. And then we plotted in the data and we watched this pulse graph. And the first thing we noticed was that while we were sitting down and watching TV, our pulse just went like this. And nothing really happened, and the heart wasn't beating very fast and the body wasn't working. But there was a huge difference between the high-intensity workouts, and it was running because the pulse went up and down, and you could really see that the heart was beating and your body was working. But again, we already figured out that this would happen. It was our hypothesis, if you can call it. So we wanted to investigate why does this happen to our pulse and what happens inside the body.
So what we know happens when we exercise is that it gets hard and we get tired and we breathe more often and our heart starts pumping blood faster. But we wanted to figure out why this happens, so we made a bit of research. The first thing that happens when we start doing exercise is that our muscles use the energy they've stored. This only lasts for around 3 seconds. When our energy is used, we need to make some new energy for our muscles, and that happens during the process we know as respiration. For respiration is needed a lot of oxygen, so our brain tells us to breathe faster so we can get some oxygen into our blood. As we breathe more, our heart also needs to pump the blood around faster in order to get this oxygen into our muscles. That's why our heart starts pumping faster and our pulse rises and our blood pressure rises.
may ask yourself, how is this good for me? And how does this benefit me? And of course, I think you all know that exercise is good for you. It's not really so unknown. But if you picture your heart, it's like a bicep muscle maybe. And you all know what a push-up is, right? Yeah, like this. So if I want to train my biceps to do push-ups, maybe when I start I can't even do 1 push-up, I can't even do 5 push-ups. But after weeks of training, my heart gets, my bicep gets better at it, and I can do 10 push-ups. And the same thing actually goes for the heart, because the heart is just one big muscle. So the more you train it to pump blood around the body, the easier it gets. There's also many other benefits. For example, it makes more blood vessels, so I get a lower blood pressure, and it protects me against heart diseases.
Now we talked about our experiments to see how pulse affected, how exercise affected pulse. But our main experiment was to figure out how much energy we would burn during these different activities. And that's also why we wore that running watch. So we both like to enjoy some M&Ms every now and then because they taste pretty good. However, from now on, I guess we'll reconsider it a bit before we eat 1 or 2 packs of them.
So I'm just going to take an example. If any of you want a chocolate bar, you can just raise your hand. Okay, let's use you can have it. You can eat it anytime you want. But first, I just want to ask you one question. If you were to guess how many hours of watching TV you need to burn that chocolate bar, what would you guess? I don't know. We asked a couple of people this, and they all had it wrong actually. And even we were surprised by this, because you actually need to watch TV for 8 hours straight in order to burn that chocolate bar. Just by that. You could also just take a run for 30 minutes. Now you could choose a healthier snack, like this, just a bag of carrots and an apple. And if you eat this, then congratulations, you're already eating healthier. This has vitamins, and this has fibers that's good for your body. And if you eat this, you'll feel much more full. Does anyone want this? Ah, okay. Now, if you ate that, you would actually only need to watch TV for 3 hours, and you would only need to run for 5 minutes. So that's a good example for how big the difference is between a healthy snack and a non-healthy snack.
And that leads us back to our experiment. As we talked before, we did each activity for 10 minutes at a time. So if we take for an example, then the running watch said that, for example, me, I burned 10 calories when I sat down for 10 minutes. And that's approximately 3 M&Ms. So, if she sat down for an hour, that would be 18 M&Ms. That's actually what we wanted to show you with these cups. Can you all see them? Okay. This cup, for example, shows how many M&Ms you would need to burn. This shows how many M&Ms you would burn if you ran for an hour, and if you did cardio for an hour, or walking, vacuuming, sitting, and resting. And you can all pretty clearly see that the high-intensity workouts like running has a huge difference. For the low activities like resting, where you're only doing like 7 M&Ms. Well, there is a huge difference in these cups, and I can tell you that there's 132 M&Ms in the one with the running, and there's only 7 in this one where we rested. And the reason why there is such a big difference has something to do with the research I told you about before. Because when we start doing exercise and our pulse rises and our heart pumps faster, we allow respiration to happen more often. And during this respiration, fat or glucose that's stored in the body as calories is burned, and we can now eat them from something different, for example, M&Ms. Actually, we also took one step further, and we calculated how much energy it would take to run once around the entire world. And I can tell you that's pretty much. If imagine this bag filled with M&Ms, then you would burn 6.5 of those if you run around the entire world.
Yeah, so now we both told you the connection between burning energy and exercise and pulse and exercise. So now we wanted to figure out if there's any connection between the pulse and how much you burn.
Due to our research, we thought that a higher pulse would just equal a higher burn in the amount of energy. But it didn't seem quite right. But we plugged in the data from our calories burned and their pulse and blood pressure and made these two diagrams. This diagram over here shows our pulses during the different activities, and this diagram over here shows how much energy we burned during the activities.
And now it doesn't seem like there's any connection really. But then again, I was the one with the highest pulse, and I was also the one that burned most calories. So we thought there might be a connection.
Well, now for a conclusion. We've learned a lot about how the body works and how the pulse works and why we burn energy. We have also learned how exercise affects the body and why it's said to be so healthy. During our experiment, we have got very surprised by some things. For example, I didn't expect vacuuming to burn almost as much as walking and cardio. But that only leads us back to our main conclusion that exercise is healthy and it's easy. It's not something that should only be done once a month due to bad excuses. There's not enough time, or I haven't access for a gym, because it's easy and vacuuming actually counts as an exercise. Not a high intensity exercise, but it counts a bit. So exercise makes your heart stronger, it puts you in a better mood, and it can help you maintain a healthy weight. Therefore, our opinion must be, just do it, it's gonna be worth it.
Now, it has been very fun and it's been very pleasure to work with Leah, even though we both want it our way. We made it work and we're happy with how our project turned out. We also saw everyday activities and exercise in a whole new perspective, really. And of course, we want to thank our teachers, Ellen and Hela, for helping us. I want to thank Leah's parents and my parents and the gymnasium for lending out the gym to us. And last but not least, I want to thank you all for listening.